Welcome back to Dimitri's Garage, and today we're going to follow up on the video I released last time, which was all about the best waxes for getting your car dialed in for this summer. Today we're going to talk about the supplies that I use and the contents of my detail cart and how you can use similar techniques at home. Let's kick things off with a wash pad. This pad here was purchased in the Obsessed Garage store from Matt Mormon's YouTube channel. I don't remember the brand off the top of my head. If I'm able to find it in his store still, I'll link down below in the description, but there are a lot of similar pads. I just really like this one and I have a bunch. The next thing I want to talk about is the nice fluffy edgeless microfiber that I use for drying and wax application. You can see them right here, brand new from the rag company. These are the Eagle Edgeless 500s that I really like to use. When you first get these, it's really good to give them a wash to get rid of some of the lint. These have already been washed, so they're good to use. Now you might have noticed that on top of the fluffy towels is where I had my wash pad, and there are actually other towels underneath. This is not a random order. These are actually stacked based on how I wash the car, and it'll make sense later towards the end of the video as you see me wash a car. Down below, I actually have these multi-purpose terries. These are bigger than your traditional terries from Costco or one of those AutoZone stores for door jams, for wheels, for any kind of under the hood cleaning. Really anything where you don't want it to be this fluffy because it'll get all that sand and other debris in there because those are the really dirty spots. My next largest piece is going to be this Adams foam cannon, or sometimes they call it a foam lance, it depends on the brand. And this attaches to my pressure washer, which you'll see later in the video, and it generates copious amounts of foam. Just out of reach here, I have some pressurized spray cans. Let's talk about those. This one contains Adams detail spray. This is my all-time favorite detail spray. It's really great to eliminate those water spots if you hit a sprinkler or maybe you just, quick summer rain shower. This will get all that stuff off, and of course you use it during the washing process. This other spray can contains Adams Tire Shine. The reason I really love this particular tire shine is because it will never turn your tires orange. I've used it for years, and depending on how much you apply, you either get kind of a more matte finish or a much glossier finish. The more you add, the glossier it gets. Now, if you want the ultimate matte look, I think the Super VRT is really good. Now, our next big item is this Adams wheel wash. This stuff is really nice. I've used similar products. For example, Sonex makes a really nice one. You'll see me use it later in the video, and it's really amazing at getting brake dust off. Now, we have a third thing for wheels here, and this is P&S Bead Maker, which is really a spray sealant. However, I found that it works really well as a detail spray / sealant when you're doing your wheels. I don't really like it on paint that much. I'm not a huge fan overall. The last spray bottle is CarPro's Iron X. Now this stuff is really great for getting iron contamination out of your paint. It's debris from your brake pads squeezing your cast iron rotors, and it's just kind of creating a little metal cloud that goes everywhere. And of course there's other cars on the road doing the same. Way down below I have a vacuum cleaner. This is a little Milwaukee, which is portable and it uses the standard Milwaukee batteries. I have all the hoses and attachments right here for it. Now this big guy here is a leaf blower, which is also battery powered, and I use this to blow water off the car, which is nice and waxed usually. Now I've got 3 buckets on this cart. This one is the wash bucket. I just threw the pad in here. Now inside here there's a grid guard, which helps keep all the debris that comes from the pad into the water as you wash down below, so you're not picking it back up on your sponge. I have these little bolts here that are threaded in with nuts, and it's actually holding the gun up here for the pressure washer, and this lets me hang these buckets. And I've got another one over here that I use for my dirty rags, and then there's a third one right here down below, which I use for various wheel washing purposes. Car shampoo, you gotta have car shampoo. This is the Adams. It's their standard shampoo that I've used for years for all my tests. It's supposed to be pH neutral, and we'll actually be doing a video where I'm gonna test all 3 of Adams shampoos. I also always keep alcohol. This is just isopropyl rubbing alcohol. I use it for decontaminating car surfaces, removing waxes, things like that. Another aid in removing waxes is this Adams strip wash. This stuff allows you to spray your car like you normally would with your foam cannon, but it'll kind of eat away at the wax. It's instead of using things like dish soap, which are a lot of times masking and don't really do what you're trying to do. So instead of using Dawn, get something like this. This is Adam's glass sealant, and I'm not so far a huge fan of this stuff. I've kind of got a feeling like this is probably not their best product, and I'm gonna try something different today. This VRT is what I mentioned earlier that you can put as tire dressing to give it like the most matte look ever. If you really don't want any shine, this stuff is terrific. You can also use it on other black car trim surfaces to give them that original color that they had. The only caution I would say is if there's surfaces you step on, it can make them a little slippery. So I wouldn't put it on like running boards necessarily. Adam's all-purpose cleaner is a really strong degreaser. I usually use this stuff on wheels, but it's also good on those all-weather floor mats and other surfaces that you could think of where you've really got something greasy going on and you really need to clean them up, or just like a lot of dirt. Here we've got our foaming interior and leather cleaner. This stuff is from Adam's and it's pretty strong, and I use it with this brush when there's some really deep, heavy-duty dirt that I gotta get out of a seat. Right here we've got our leather conditioner. This stuff smells pretty good, and it seems to give leather a little bit of suppleness. I've used it for years on leather. This stuff's also from Adam's. I've enjoyed using it. This is glass cleaner from Adam's. And this stuff really works well to make sure you don't have any streaks on your glass. It seems to get all the grime off of it, including like kind of greasy grime. I use it in combination with this pad. I wrap one of those terry cloths around this. Adam's In and Out spray. It's kind of a dressing for your interior trim. You spray it on and it gives it kind of a nice matte look, and it's sort of self-leveling. You don't really rub it in. You can kind of even spray it at things you can't reach. This stuff I use a lot of. It's Adam's Interior Detailer, and basically it's like a detail spray for the inside of your car. Gives it UV protection and kind of helps you do a light cleaning. It's not for really removing heavy duty dirt. It's just a quick spritz and then a wipe to get the dust and other, fingerprints, stuff like that. This is Clay Bar. I don't know that everything in here is from Adam's. I usually just kind of reuse the box, but the blue one in here might be an Adam's one. Clay Bar is what you use to decontaminate anything embedded in your car paint. You'll kind of feel it after the IronX treatment. You'll feel like there's still maybe some sandpapery type of texture to your paint. And as you run the clay over it, it picks it all up and it just gets really smooth. Over here, we've got our little wax applicators that you use to put wax on your car paint. Another great item is this little interior brush. Now, this is my pressure washer spray nozzle, and I got this from Northern Tool, and I actually had to make a custom conversion into a snub nose. You can just buy them as snub noses these days really easily, but I was kind of doing this when other people were sort of messing around with doing their own. And it's like, I've got like adapter into adapter into adapter into adapter in here. It's ridiculous, but it works. I've also got my hat for when the sun's just beating down on you. Now guys, I do have my waxes up on the wall over here, and I have my paint correction tools in the shelf there, as well as multi-gallon refills. However, this is the bulk of what I use for every single car wash if I'm not doing something beyond a normal wash or wax. So if you assemble something like this for yourself, you've basically got the perfect kit. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you that there are going to be links down below in the description. They're going to be Amazon affiliate links, which provide me a really small commission if you buy anything on Amazon after you click through. Those small commissions help me keep the channel going by allowing me to buy new test products as well as new equipment. I really don't get a lot of stuff for free, and when I do, I make sure to mention it. Of course, I also wanted to tell you that I love it when you guys subscribe, click like, or leave me a nice comment. Interacting with you guys is really awesome. I really enjoy it, and it motivates me to make more videos. So what we're gonna do now is go outside and use all these tools to wash my Mustang, and I will show you guys how to do a really in-depth detail and get your car looking perfect for the summer. So real quick guys, I did buy a DJI Osmo Action Cam. This thing is like a little GoPro, and essentially I can mount it in my Mustang. I can mount it on a chest rig that makes it kind of like a body cam. So in today's video, I'm gonna use it when we detail the exterior of the Mustang, and I'd like your guys' input if you like it, if you don't like it, is it making you seasick? All right guys, I got the Mustang out here, and the first thing we're gonna wanna do is walk around it and see where the problem areas are. Right here, I see all the dirt. Now I also rotated the tires, so both front and rears are gonna have brake dust on them. Lots of bugs in the front. So here's my setup when I come outside. I have my cart. Do your back a favor, do yourself a favor, get a nice chair. And of course we got our pressure washer set up. I've got a whole ton of my wheel washing stuff in here. And we're gonna kick this thing on. Gonna let the air bleed out. All right, now let's see if we've got any wax left. And I bet we do. And I've had this Wolfgang on well over a year, but keep in mind, this car, it doesn't really go in the rain and it doesn't get washed that much. Even though the wax is still working today, I'm gonna strip it off the car and apply a new coat just to show you guys how it works. The first thing we wanna do is get our water leveled right about here. So we wanna pour that strip wash to the level there. That's about where I have good luck. Now you're going to want to turn this over. Give it a nice shake. That stuff over there is blue. It's actually the regular shampoo, and this is green, but this is what we're going to be foaming on top of the car. So now we take our foam nozzle, and I like to set that right about there, and that's about good. So the very first thing I like to do is spray everything down and get it all soaking. There we go. We still got a good amount left to complete the wash. So while the car soaks, we should do the wheels. I'm using this Adams wheel cleaner, and I'm basically spraying on a liberal amount and letting it soak. Now you can see how purple the wheels are getting from all the iron. Now we're going to get our chair. I'm going to spray a little more on. And I'm going to start with this soft synthetic brush. My next step is I grab one of these woolies and I get it into the wheel here and I started cleaning up. These wheels are real snug around these giant brake discs because they're only 18s. But the good thing about 18s is you can get racing tires in 18s. We want to take our all-purpose cleaner. Use this brush. All right, let's wash the wheels off and see how they look. And if you guys still have any dirt in your wheels when you do the wash off, it's okay. You can get it later. All right, we got our sponge. Now we're going to do the top and back of the car. You want to do the painted surfaces first. Flip the sponge. You can do the mirror. I wrap these bad boys myself. Not bad. Then we'll flip and do the back here. Oh, and people worried about the vents, unless you have an air intake below it that's like cupped, where it'll fill with water, this is not a big deal because you're really able to wash with a pressure washer inside the engine bay. We're going to use this Iron X from CarPro to make sure there's no iron contaminants. So we're just going to go around and spray down the wet car, and we'll see it turn purple if there's any iron in the paint. Some people don't like the smell. It doesn't really bother me that much. Lock this up tight if you really don't like the smell. So the goal now is to give it a few minutes, like 3 to 5, for it to affect any of the iron contamination. You can see a little bit right here where there's iron. Oh, yeah, we see how much the badge is soaked up. Oh, yeah, hood's got a bunch of iron spots on it. So it's been a few minutes. We're going to grab this damp sponge, and we're just going to spread the stuff around, pretty gentle. Now, you don't want to let the stuff dry in the sun, so you should immediately rinse it. Now, I normally use this to blow dry the cars, and we'll do that today, but keep in mind, because the wax here is gone because of the strip wash, it's not going to work very well. So now I would normally towel dry, but because we are putting on new wax, we want to clay bar the car. So instead, I'm going to spray it down with detail spray. Let's get some clay. So you want to ball this up and get it in a flat shape, and then you're going to go over the surface pretty much until you feel it slipping. And you can tell I have virtually no contamination because it just glides. See, it's barely picking anything up. We can do this car really quickly. You want to occasionally stop and reball this. You can do the glass too. And if you drop this on the ground, you want to throw out the piece. So maybe don't use all of it at once. We're going to grab one of these Eagle Edgeless 500s, and we can start cleaning this up. It doesn't have to be totally perfect. We'll get it in the garage for a final wipe down. Car is in the garage, and I think it's looking pretty great. We need to touch up a few spots on the paint, get the wheels touched up. We need to shine the tires, and then we're going to do the wax. And I think we'll also try a different ceramic coating on the windows. So the first thing we need to do is glove up. What you doing over here? I also got this sweet Milwaukee lightsaber light. Look for little imperfections. Yeah, I see we need to do a final touch up on the fins here for the heat extractors. So we'll get that touched up real quick. Guys, I think we're golden. Just got to do the windows. Grab one of these. Adam's glass cleaner. Much better. Always cap everything off. Now she's ready for wheels and tires. So I've been alternating Sonax and Bead Maker as a wheel coat and kind of a detail spray for the wheels. Now we're going to take this Adam's wheel shine and we're going to apply it to this rag. And these are like the cheapest little rags that I buy. I like a little more. I kind of like a wet look. Don't judge. All right, so we've got this terry, and now let's use it to clean up our wheels of the Bead Maker. I know this is kind of off label. I don't think they really mean for it to be a detail spray, but it's been working for me. I think we're going to use this Adam ceramic with UV technology spray wax for the windows. I think we're going to use this one, the Wolfgang, my trusted Wolfgang, for the body of the car. I was going to use Soft 99 Fuso, but I hadn't received my light color car kit. I only have the dark color, so it's not going to work for this. And then I think I want to use this cure on all the headlights and kind of trim pieces that I can't use the Wolfgang on. You're going to get to see a traditional wax, you're going to get to see a spray coating, and then you're going to get to see a spray wax with infused with silicone. Now this stuff, you can use it on a wet car. Our car is obviously dry. Now while this is not a spray coating, this is infused with silicon dioxide. It is a lot easier to use than a coating though. So the coating will just stick with the glass, just kind of a light little mist. That was probably actually a little too much. You can go ahead and just kind of wipe that up. Make sure you really get everything off your car because it does have a tendency to high spot. And we'll wipe the stuff around and then we'll kind of wipe it up. This is where you don't want to use a traditional wax. It'll turn it white, it'll ruin that nice matte look. If you're new to using this product, I recommend spraying it on your microfiber and then spreading it around because you can definitely spritz a bunch of it somewhere and wind up with a high spot that you don't want if you fail to clean it up. The correct way, you spray a little here, go right over here, and you kind of wipe it on the thing you're trying to protect, and then you flip around. All right, guys, now I'm going to show you how to do the Wolfgang. It's really easy. You want to shake the bottle up really good. Put a little bit on. The only problem is on a white car, it's not the best in terms of being able to actually see what you're doing. So I don't know how much you guys can see. You don't need a super thick layer. You can really spread that. You want to avoid headlights. You want to avoid that black matte finish. Basically, avoid anything that is not car paint. Pick all that wax up from the other side. Whenever you start to see it not spread anymore, that's when you add a little more. I like this stuff. I've got this whole car covered with wax. While I wait for it to haze, let's do this Adam spray sealant. So we have to remove the little safety tab. That's kind of cool. And then the instructions are to basically spray a little on here, wipe it around, wait for it to haze to kind of a rainbowy look, about a minute or two, and then buff off. Oh, what else is not right? Do I just need to pull more? No. Spray nozzle's not working. I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed. I barely had this product. So I'm going to switch over to the ceramic spray coating if that nozzle works. I haven't actually tried this one yet, so we'll see how it works. I really hope Adams can send me a new nozzle. So let's give this a shot. Looks like it's still flashing. I'm starting to get that rainbow effect. Make sure not to leave residue. Get a real good look at it. Looks good, shiny. Now it's time to wipe up the wax that's nice and hazed here. I love how easy this Wolfgang comes off. Even if you use a little too much, it's still so easy. It won't become like frozen solid. There's one part we haven't done yet, and this is what a lot of people forget. Just look at those door jambs. I don't really bother to use those fancy towels because the door jambs are extra dirty. Get rid of all this stuff. Look at how much better that is. Now don't forget the doors here. You gotta do the inside too. Now I'm still gonna vacuum in here and do a little cleanup, but I'm gonna show you guys the interior detailing on the truck because there's leather and more fancy surfaces, and this thing is really pretty much gutted. So guys, I think she looks terrific. Let's talk about doing the interior detailing on the truck. So guys, I'm in the truck and I'm gonna show you how to get the interior dialed in. I've got this interior detailer from Adams. There's no deep grime, so we're not gonna use the cleaner that I showed you in the beginning. First thing you want to do is remove any trim pieces like this, and I'll just show you in here because it's easier. But you're going to want to take them outside and kind of give them a little spray and then clean them up with your towel. So go ahead and take all of them out and do that. And then before you put it in, it's good to go back here and get all that cleaned out. And then you put it back in and you're good to go. Start at the top of the dashboard. And you're gonna do the side that you're on. You'll later get on that side and go over there. Get our heads-up display cleaned up. More schmutz here. Little switches up here. Now what we're gonna do next is the steering wheel. Clean up our gauges real quick around the shifter. And then you make your way over to the center console. So you do the same thing with your cloth. Now you want to get the center console here. Then of course we can do our seat. I have these all-season mats. I'm just gonna vacuum these. They still look clean, but one great thing you could do is pull them out and use that Adams degreaser, that green stuff that I showed you. That will clean those up real well. Now you also want to get the door here. Now before we vacuum, what I like to do is I like to get in here with this little brush. Just make sure you get everything out of here. I like to do these switches. You can use the same glass cleaner on the inside. I'm gonna start applying this Adams leather conditioner on the leather surfaces of the car. So I'll apply a little bit to a wax applicator. Now I don't like a real thick coat of the leather. Now let's do the rest of the interior. So let's do the steering wheel. I think I have enough on here to do that. Light touch with this thing. We don't want to wipe all of it off. Keep it off the buttons and stuff. An important thing to consider is if you have perforation like this, you don't want to jam it full of this liquid stuff. It'll fill up the holes and it'll look really bad. So you really want to kind of smear it around and then start on the non-perforated areas to make sure you're not over applying. And then you could hit the perforations and then it's okay. And you want to go around and hit the bolsters. And again, we're going to do it on the non-perforated stuff first. Seat bolsters. Same thing as before. I don't really want the super shiny look. And here we have the Adams in and out spray that we're going to use on the plastics and kind of matte panels that are not leather in the truck. If you use it kind of like spray paint, it'll self-level. So guys, I would call this a successful detail. We've got the interior done, we got the Mustang done. I hope I was able to show you some things so you can get your ride looking real perfect for the summer.